Hi, I'm Professor Martin, and along with my friends Kayla and Larissa, we discovered how the Petaluma River is affected by fertilizer runoff. Petaluma is an agricultural town. Greenery is abundant and farm country surround it. Now, in order to fuel these crops, they need fertilizer for the plants to grow faster. If this copious amount of fertilizer somehow gets in the water supply, the environment could easily worsen. We were asked by the Friends of the Petaluma River to answer the question, is the river healthy? Now, in order to find this out, we went down and did a variety of tests. The first day we went, we tested all types of variables just to get a sense of what we wanted to test, like water temperature, salinity, and conductivity. On the second day, our team decided to test nitrates and phosphate levels in the river. On both days, we got unusually high amounts of nitrates, about 6, and phosphates, about 4. Now we decided to come back on Sunday because the location most likely matters in this scientific experiment. On Sunday, we rented a canoe in order to observe more parts of the river. We traveled up the river because there are a much larger variety of locations than the downriver. First, we went to a plant-heavy area because plants absorb nitrates and phosphates in order to grow. The plant-heavy area had 0.0 milligrams per liter of nitrates and 1.0 milligrams per liter in phosphates. The second place we went to was an industrial zone of the river. We got up close and personal with a drainage pipe to get the exact source of how much waste is being dumped into the river. The nitrate level was still a 0.0 milligrams per liter, but the phosphate level was now 5.0. The enormous juxtaposition of phosphates throughout the river is the real problem. The nitrate level is under control-ish, the pH level could use a little improvement but isn't life-threatening, and the turbidity, or cloudiness, of the water is just fine. Now you may ask, what's the problem with having too many phosphates? Well, aside that normal levels are 0.1 milligrams per liter, there's a problem of eutrophication. Eutrophication is a complicated process, but I'll describe it in brief. Phosphates are known as a limiting nutrient, which means if in short supply, growth of a plant will slow. The extra phosphates in the water allow more algae to use up the phosphates and grow in it. This may seem to be good for the ecosystem because it creates an excess of primary producers, which will allow the entire food chain to increase in population, and it'll also add more dissolved oxygen to the water. To prevent these dead zone and eutrophication from forming, Petaluma has to reduce its phosphate waste. I propose that we sanction off fertilizer runoff from going into the river. Agricultural runoff is fairly controlled here. As any map can show, there are no direct connections between any fertilizer using business and the river. However, being about 400% more phosphates in the river than the absolute maximum does make this river polluted. I believe that the Petaluma River is great. All the water quality measurements are non-extreme in manner. The temperature is nice and warm, plant life keeps nitrates in check, turbidity is low despite what it appears to be, and salinity and ammonia are all just fine. During this experiment, we learned that our watershed is doing just fine, and only needs minor improvements to make it as efficient as possible. I think the lesson we can all take to heart is that the Petaluma watershed is in great condition compared to other rivers in the world, and this beauty can quickly change in an instant if we don't treat it like the volatile resource it is.
We want to thank the Friends of the Petaluma River for allowing us to learn more about our local environment through a hands-on experience.